I was on a little walk yesterday and I had an interesting thought as I was walking. And for some reason, was thinking about all the different personality types that I've come in contact with in my life. A lot of them through my high school years, but also a lot of them came through my adulthood years, mainly through working, different jobs and whatnot. And just all the different kind of people that you end up coming in contact with and uh, having to spend time around, you know, unwillingly in most cases, due to having to work. But yeah, I mean, I got thinking about it and I got thinking about all the different kinds of personalities that are out there. And so it was in the greater context of thinking about how important your inner circle is, the circle of people who are closest to you. Um, and so that's kind of where the thought had come from. And I created a video about that, about the importance of your inner circle and, what type of character traits, are best to have around you. Um, and I'll link that video here somewhere at the end, but that's where this thought came from when I began to think about that. And so I kind of wanted to, as a continuation of that video, discussing the importance of your circle, to have this little discussion about personality types, because there is an array of personalities out there. And I don't know, I just thought it'd be an interesting and entertaining topic of discussion, and so I figured I'd throw it out there. So as I was thinking about this and I began to think about some of these personality traits or character traits of people that I've come in contact with, I was thinking more, in most recent terms, first, and so I began to think about two-faced people, because man, I've come in contact with a lot of people who fall under this category of two-faced. And honestly, when I was initially thinking about this, it seemed to me that there was so many, that this was such a prominent character type or character trait that initially I was going to make a video just about this topic alone of people that are two-faced, because it seems like for some reason that's a big one out there. But anyway, when I was thinking about my most recent job, before coming into this, that's one of the traits, that's one of the personalities or character types of one, if not multiple individuals that I worked with at my last job. And two-faced is, I don't know, I think it's probably one of the worst ones that you can have. I mean, these people just suck, man. I mean, that's just, I mean, I'm not trying to be ignorant here or not trying to mock anybody, but yeah, I mean, people who are two-faced, they suck. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And it looks different, in the way that these people carry themselves and things that they do. But at the end of the day, the category is still the same. And they still fall in this category of two-faced, And mainly that's because these individuals, when they're around you, they're one person. They put on one display. But then when they're around other people, they change into a different person almost. It's almost like they have multiple personality disorder or something. And maybe they do. I don't know. I'm simply chalking it up to being two-faced, because disorder or not, that's what it is. And so to act one way around one group of people or one individual, and then to act a completely different way, or a way that's contrary to this way over here when you're around other people, that's two-faced to me. And to be like friends, to try and be friends with one person, and then to turn around and be like talk shit about him behind his back or whatever it looks like, that's what it is to be two-faced. And I just it takes me back to my childhood, and it's almost like these individuals were the ones that as children were the ones that couldn't play nicely with more than one kid. If you added another kid, there was problems. He'd play good if it was just him or her and one other person, but as soon as you added someone or multiple other children into the mix, there was an immediate problem because they could not play with everybody fairly. And I think that just carries on into their adulthood, and then ultimately they just become two-faced. And so that's who these individuals ultimately end up being. And yeah, I've definitely been around my fair share, to say the least. uh you know with that too, a lot of these character types, typically these people, they fall under multiple of these personality array types. And uh the other one would be backstabber, right? I mean, we all know these people that are just backstabbers. And a lot of times, to be a backstabber, you also have to be two-faced, because it literally means to be like friends with you one minute, and as soon as you turn around, they're stabbing you in the back. And so these individuals tend to have multiple of these traits, but it's almost one and the same, right? Because when they're face to face with you, they try to be cool, everything's cool, they're your best buddy, and then uh, as soon as you turn your back to them, they're running their mouth behind your back or stabbing you in the back, whatever they can do, either out of jealousy, or typically it's out of jealousy because they are threatened by you. And because they're threatened by you, it makes them feel uneasy and uncomfortable. And so what do you do? What do those type of people do? Well, they try to do things to tear you down to lift themselves up. That's the name of the game with these type of people. And so, yeah, you have the backstabbing type. You have the hypocrites, right? You have the ones that say one thing and do another. They do all this stuff, and then you turn around, they say all this stuff, they say they do all this stuff, but then in action, it's something completely different. And there's so many of these people out there, and I've ran into a lot of them in my adulthood. Never fails, say one thing, do another. And it's interesting because when you're in high school, these type of things, it almost comes with the territory, right? I mean, you're younger, people are developing, you're not, for the most part, everybody's still trying to figure out who they even are. And so this kind of comes with the territory. Once you enter adulthood and you still carry these characteristics with you, they are character flaws. Point blank, end of story. They are character flaws. And so a hypocrite, I don't know. I just don't I don't get how these individuals just do not seem to have a conscience, because to be a hypocrite is to be someone without a conscience. Because to say one thing and then turn around and do another, and to act contrary to who you appear to be, on the surface, if that's not bugging you in your mind and in your spirit because you are doing something opposite to who you are portraying yourself to be, I don't know, something's missing there. Then there's a little missing link in there for some reason, and that sucks, because a hypocrite's not someone that you want to be. No one really wants these type of people in their circle, and that's what we're talking about here, right? This whole concept of these personality arrays are just talking about different character traits, and these ones mainly that we're talking about here today are ones that you don't want. right? I mean, we'll get into some better ones at the end, but these ones here in the front, these are ones that you do not want in your inner circle. There's just no room for them. I mean, there's no room in my circle. I have a very, very tight, tiny circle, intentionally that way. And I don't have time for people like this at all. Life is too short. I have no time for people that fall in any of these categories at all. There's no time for it. I only want to surround myself around people who are real people, real, loyal, honest, trustworthy, these type of people. And unfortunately, they are hard to come by, it seems like. At least that's what I've noticed in my adulthood in the area I'm in. And I do come from a small town. I'm in a small area. And so you have that small town mentality. And you only have so many people to choose from, right? So my circle is small, but I prefer it that way, especially when this is what you get to deal with out there. You got the kiss ass, right? Everybody knows a kiss ass, and especially in the workforce, you will definitely sooner or later come in contact with these individuals. And they, I don't really get it, but they just have a tendency to shove their head up whoever's ass is leading, and so obviously by nature, they are then followers. They are not leaders themselves. They are followers, and they follow so closely that their head is literally up the person's ass. I've come into contact with a few of these. There's definitely not as many of these, I feel like, as there are some of these other personality traits, but they definitely come out in the workforce, in the field when you're working. That's where you will run into this species. Okay, these kiss ass species of people, you will run into them out in the field when you are working. That's where I've run into them at, and it literally makes you sick. Like, I cannot stand people that are like this, and unfortunately I've had to work closely with a few of them, and you're walking around every day like with puke in your mouth, to be honest, and it makes you sick. But for some reason they're just that way, and man, no shame in it a lot of times for these guys, man. No shame at all. But they are what they are. And you just gotta, I don't know, you just gotta stomach it, I guess. At least that's what I had to do for a pretty long period of time there. Luckily, no more. Anyway, wannabes, right? You got the wannabes, the ones that just cannot figure out who they are, and they just want to be everybody else but themselves. And that's a shame. I feel bad for these individuals, because who you should want to be is who you are. There is something brilliantly authentic about the individual. You know what I'm saying? And every individual has this. I mean, not everybody sees it for what it is, but that is the reality. In everybody's individuality, there is this authentic thing that makes you who you are, and that can be good, it can be bad, but whatever, it's still you, and you should embrace that. But these individuals just cannot, I guess, stand to look at themselves in the mirror. So they, tend to try to be everybody but themselves. They just, want to be someone else. And again, this was one of those ones that was more prominent in high school, but I've even seen it, in my adulthood. They just want to be, they think someone else is cool, and so they try to be like them instead of just being themselves. I mean, there's something attractive about people who are leaders and independent and want to be authentic and be themselves. To me, it's a turnoff. It's the opposite of attractive to want to be someone else and to think so highly of other people that you try to be like them. I don't know. I just, I guess I feel sorry for those individuals too, because they just can't find their true self, and that's a shame. Gossip. You got the gossipers, right? They just, I guess their own lives are so pathetic that they just have to dig into everybody else's to find some purpose and meaning. And man, let me tell you, coming from a small town, lots of those out there, right? Lots of those. And I've never understood it because it's like my own personal life, like I don't have time to give a shit what you do. I could care less what anybody else is doing. So I've never understood this. To care so much about someone else's what someone else is doing with their life that you're just constantly spending your entire life talking about it with other people just screams how pathetic your own life is. Again, I feel sorry for these individuals because that's what it is. Your life is so pathetic. There's nothing interesting enough in your own life to keep you, fulfilled and busy and purpose led and driven, that you have to find it by talking about other people's. And most of the time that's because of jealousy and all these other, flaws that come with some of these character traits. But, these individuals just cannot be content with their own business. And so they have to get into everybody else's. And again, it's a shame, but lots of those people out there as well. You got the cool cats, right? The ones that are, their whole aura and their whole agenda behind their themselves and who they're trying to portray themselves to be, instead of just allowing themselves to be themselves, they take on this cool cat type persona, to where like they just try to be cool with everything they do, right? Everything, the way they talk, their movements, the way they walk, everything is in an attempt to try and be the cool cat. And again, this to me is a turnoff, and more prominent back, in my younger years when I was in high school. But again, you still have this. A lot of these traits you will find, if you haven't noticed yet, they carry on. If you had these type of things when you were younger or in high school, you probably have carried them with you, unless someone has pointed it out to you and you recognized the flaw. There's a good chance you've probably carried it with you into your adulthood, because these are all part of adults out there as well. I mean, you still have those ones that everything they do is in an effort to try and be the cool cat, and I don't know. I just, I think at some point you got to grow up, man. You know what I mean? You got the loners, the ones that just don't care about all this other stuff. And they definitely don't care about the cool cats. They're loners. They're independent. They're not trying to be in the in crowd. And, these type of people I feel like are just now defined as introverts. They were loners in high school. Now as adults, they're introverts. And if I'm anything on this list, it's probably that. I can tend to be a loner for sure. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, especially when this is the type of personality array. This is the personality pool that is out there to choose from. And so when you're choosing your circle, it does kind of dwindle it down to a very small circle, which I guess could make you come across as a loner, when in fact it's just that the options aren't that great. And when life is this short, I choose to surround myself with real people, and the fake people I have no time for. And so if that makes me a loner, I'll wear that badge proudly. There is another one that I've been known to be, but that was in my younger years, and that is the swindler. I was the swindler when I was growing up. Definitely the swindler. I was always trying to swindle something. It's just definitely one of my uh, one of my younger character flaws. I don't necessarily think I'm that much of a swindler these days, but I was definitely a swindler when I was younger. And that's the one that's always just trying to work a deal, or get something for nothing, or, just swindling constantly. And, I don't know. I'm not sure that that's such a bad one, but it does come with a cost, I guess, like a lot of them do. And, as you get older, that's not a very appealing personality type, someone that's always looking to swindle somebody. And so it's probably best to leave that one in your youth, if you can. Um, The know-it-all, right? We all know the know-it-all. Definitely found a lot of those in the workforce. They know it all, buddy. They've done it all. They know it all until it's time to actually do it. And then it seems like they don't know anything. I don't know. I've ran into a lot of these kind, and man, a know-it-all is a major, major turnoff, especially in the workforce, because it's like you're there just trying to get shit done. You know what I mean? You're there to do a job. And when you have this person who's done it all, and it's just, it gets old real quick, and it's a major turnoff. And no one likes a know-it-all, and there's plenty of them out there. So there's one thing to take pride in your work and to be, confident, but then there's a whole nother thing to be a know-it-all, right? That's a whole different category of individual, and I think we all know a few of those. And what else we got here on my list that I thought of? Yeah, mainly though, what you should be looking for, the main defining characteristic, the best quality trait, the best personality trait, in my opinion, in adulthood, what you're looking for in your inner circle is real. That's the one character trait that matters most, right? Someone who is real. Like, it's a shame because it's hard to find real people out there, right? That people that aren't any of these other things, and they're just real. They are who they are, and they're real, authentic. These type of just raw, who they are, real individuals, and they are the people that I like. And unfortunately, I just haven't came across a whole lot of them in my adulthood, and so there's not many of them in my circle, and that's why my circle's small. But any advice I could give you, coming from a 46-year-old that's been through it, been around all these types, that's who you're looking for your circle, for your inner circle, is someone who is real. People that are real. That's the best type of individual that you can have around you. And I hope that those that have me in their circles also see me that way, that I am real. And I try to live my life that way. Everything I do, I try to portray it in that way. And that's who I try to be. That's who I want to be. Hopefully that's who I am. So yeah, that's it. That's the list that I came up with. That's the personality array. As you move through this life, you will come in contact with all of them, I'm sure, and you will come up with your own opinions about each of these, I am sure. And so, again, when we're younger, it's all about that quantity, right? We want to be surrounded by a bunch of people because that's what's cool. But when you get older, it's about being surrounded by quality. It's all about that quality. I don't care about the numbers at all. I am much more concerned with the quality of people that I'm surrounded by. And so that's my opinion. That's where I'm at. Hopefully this was entertaining to you today. If it was, please like the video. I'd love to hear your opinions on any of these or any stories that you might have around it. And lastly, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Hit that notification bell, and I will link the other video to the video about the circle, the inner circle, in this one. So check that out. And until the next one, Brad Casper, Casper's Corner, and we're out.